Hey, what's going on? What's up, Frank?
What's up, Lo?
Man, you got it, man. What's going on with you? How everything going?
Everything's smooth, man.
All right, okay. All right, I hear you then. Well, hey, today's video we're gonna talk about emasculation of black men and abuse of Negro slaves. So I'm gonna start. Have you got anything for I start off?
No. I'm just you running the show, bro.
I'm not running nothing, but all right, bet. We'll go. Let me see. Where's this video at?
Time they would call black music race music when I sung rock and roll. I was on RCA Victor before Elvis Presley, but they wouldn't put me on RCA. They put me on Camden. So when I would wear makeup, they would let me sing for the white girls. When I put on eyelashes and all that, they would let me sing. But when I went as a just straight dude, they would let me sing. They thought I wanted the girls. So if I came out straight guy, they would let me sing. But when I came out with all the makeup on and all the eyelashes and all the hair, they said Richard was a good boy. I never was a good man, but I was a good guy.
Who's they that you're talking about here?
Some of the whites in Macon, where I'm from, I came from a little town. You know, it was real prejudice back in that time. There was a lot of people that would love to have been flamboyant, you know, just like Kiss and Jimi Hendrix, which was my guitar player. He started out with me. Billy Preston, James Brown was my vocalist. Otis Redding, Beatles came with me. They started with me. Mick Jagger. All these people started with me.
So you really did have a dramatic impact and a great deal of influence on what would later become the mainstays of rock and roll music.
I was the architect. At that time, they would call black music race music when I sung rock and roll. I was on RCA Victor before Elvis Presley, but they wouldn't put me on RCA. They put me on Camden.
All right. Oh man, gosh. There you have it. More or less, I said emasculation. Take this video down. And what's your take on that?
I mean, I really didn't know. I knew about Jimi Hendrix working with him because I follow Jimmy a lot and I watched his documentary. I didn't know. I would hear the term he was the author of rock and roll. I hear that all the time. I didn't know all of those groups came through his tutelage. You know what I'm saying? And to be great artists what they are today. I feel like black men, it's 2023. We still going through that today. We going through that in film. No disrespect to the BLM movement. No disrespect to the LGB community or anything of the any of those people. And I don't say those people or those organizations with people in them. But I don't feel like they don't speak for the real black men who don't have to put on makeup, black men who don't have to wear dresses, black men who don't have to be quote unquote safe. And it's just a horrible thing, man. It's crazy. We still going through that today. If you look on the news, and this is no knock to nobody's sexual their sexual preference. All you see is gay black dudes. You don't see too many strong young black men because they know if there are images of strong black men that will produce other strong black men. So they want to show the black man in his weakest form. And like I said, I don't have nothing against gay people. I'm not gay bashing, but they don't speak for a man like for me. And I'm only gonna speak for myself because I'm talking right now. They not speaking for me. They not we don't like the same things. You know what I'm saying? And to each his own, but they can't no gay dude talk for me. You know what I'm saying? Because my sexual preference is a strong black woman. You know what I'm saying? That's my preference. I don't have nothing against any other race or any other culture. I just love my culture. I love a black woman. I love my black children. I love my blackness. I love my dark skin. I love the way I move, the way I talk, the way I dress. You know, they got us looking like some fools right now, man. And that's what the world want us to see. They want the strongest one to look weak. So they're gonna put all these images up of us being absent at home, being absent fathers. Um, Even in the commercials, I'm just gonna tell it like it is. If you look at a lot of commercials now, you will see a black woman, two kids, and a white dude in a Volvo commercial or a car commercial. If you see another commercial, what you're gonna see a white woman, two mixed kids, no black man. So those are images they want to show of us. Like I said, I'm not being racist. I'm being pro me, pro black, not pro black as in uh I hate everything other than black people. No, I just love my black culture, just like the Japanese love their culture, just like the Puerto Ricans love their culture. I love my culture, and I'm not gonna trade it for nothing or nobody. But I just hope and wish, we just stop going for the banana in the tailpipe, because I'm gonna tell my experience. I was in Hawaii sometime, and I can tell by me walking around, I didn't look broke. I wasn't broke, because you can't be broke kicking in Hawaii. For one, let's just start there. But I was walking with my hands down, my regular routine of walking, right? And so I started noticing people clutching their purses when they and these people from other cultures and other races who probably haven't had interaction with black men. I encountered it was they was Russian, my mom and a daughter, and they were terrified that I got on the elevator with them. But lo and behold, it was already two other black guys, and they wasn't even black. They was from Spain or something, because they were speaking Spanish, right? So the two frigid, scared out they wits. They saw me just walking up, and then when the elevator opened, there's two other Spanish black guys in there, and they talking. They young, they like 20 years old or whatever, 18. So the elevator goes down right before it goes up, because I was on the 38th floor. So it went to the basement, and lo and behold, they had two more of their friends. They didn't get on the elevator, but the other two guys, they was getting off, right? So they was like happy, like, yeah, we about to go have some fun, fiesta, party. That's what they were saying. It made me happy, because I'm like, yeah, that's the way you're supposed to be. You in a beautiful place with your friends. You have a good time. So the elevator closed, and I just happened to look to the left. I went and stood on the other side of the elevator, the opposite of them, so they can feel more comfortable. I pulled out my phone and looked at my phone like they didn't exist, so they can feel more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So that's one incident. Another incident, it's like day 5, right? I said, okay, let me see, because I'm starting to feel how I'm feeling. I'm seeing what's actually going on. So I started walking with my hands behind my back. And I did that for like 3 days just to see people reaction. I didn't see a lot of purse clutching. A lot of the reactions that I was getting from the first couple of days, that I eventually started to pick up and recognize myself. And then I told my spouse, like, hey babe, like, yo, she like, and I told her my whole ordeal of what I was doing for the last 3 days. And she was like, you ain't got to do that. I'm like, nah, I just want you to watch. And so, yeah, man, it's a sad thing, man. People watch propaganda tapes about us before they come to the States. And those videos, make us look like murderers and thieves and takers and rapists and all those kind of things. And I hate that I have to go through this because I'm a dark skinned man. I'm not a light skinned man, and I'm not making it about light skin or dark skin. But when you dark skin, you really get looked at extra hard. You know, that's why I prefer to dress up. And it's a shame that this is the thought process for me to walk out my door. I have to have my bow tie on. I gotta have on my tie and my cufflinks so I can be less threatening to the world. So you know, it's a sad thing, but you know what? You know, I just keep going and keep my head up high. Stay out the way. You know, stay out the way. And
Okay, okay. Well, hey, that's definitely thanks for sharing that story. It seems like that was more of a stereotypical or racism, vice and masculinity, but I guess it could be. And I'm going to go into the definition now that we in there. So that was really a great story. I didn't know. I think we talked about some of that, but I'm gonna get us back on track on the masculinity and the masculated. But that's definitely good to know because that's actually perfect because you kind of said I was going. You did the tail end, but I was going to talk about the tail end of the show now. So that's good. That's good because I was going to say how all that ties in because it does. It does tie in. But if we look at what Webster's definition or a definition of a masculinity or emasculated is basically when a man is deprived of his male role identity. You know, basically, sometimes we talk, hey, baby, we might be raising kids. Don't take my legs from under me. If I tell little Johnny, hey, little Johnny, get your butt in that bed, and then mom come right in front of me, no, he's not going nowhere. That's a form of a masculinity. But we're not going to talk about it with right now at this segment or at this moment about what it comes with our own women because we don't only experience it with other races. We also experience it within the race of our own race. I don't like to use the word race but our own class of people.
yes,
So that's what definitely emasculation. And Little Richard gave an awesome definition. They had to emasculate them, And I'm kind of glad you brought up Hollywood and the LGBT community, which we weren't really talking about because you don't have to be LGBTQ to be emasculated. You can be a heterosexual man or you could be a female, but it's mainly more of a male. And not that I'm, trying to say that females can't because it's a masculinity. This is our masculinity. What makes us a male. So yeah, that was great. Like I said, you stole some thunder, but I'm glad you brought that up. But we're gonna go how it tie in. But before I do that, I want to show a picture and it's gonna understand why a masculinity goes into an emasculator. Most people don't know what an emasculator is, but I think I got a quick picture of one. And it's gonna show you, which is perfect. Let me see where that bad baby at. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I know I got it. Are you able to see that?
yes, sir.
All right, so you can see an emasculator is an instrument or a broad surface of cutting edge in the use of castrating livestock.
Wow.
See that? Castrating livestock. I don't know where my thing went to. Wow. So now, which leads me to my next topic. Well, not really a topic. So you can kind of see where back in the day, if you emasculate someone, you cut them by the gonads. You treat them
Yeah.
like them was a gilding horse. You cut their manhood off. So that's what they did in those days. Is like when they hanged a person of color, they would do that to send a message. Now, which brings a perfect segue into who, which I know this is a topic that you like, Willie Lynch. So I want to go show a quick video. It's about probably maybe a 2-minute video, and it's just gonna show, and then we're gonna build up with that whole masculinity thing. You got anything before I get into the video?
No, man. No, I just want to say I apologize to everybody and the fans and the listeners for being a little long-winded up front, but I was just telling you, my
Ah,
situation and my story.
No. That's a good story because you know what? That's a good story. Don't need to apologize. I mean, hey, it just is what it is. But we doing good. We good. So I'm gonna see if I can find this video. Let's see where you at.
By the way, if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and turn on notifications so that you never miss a new video. Let's get started. William Willie Lynch was purportedly a white slave owner in the West Indies who was summoned to Virginia in 1712 due to slave revolts in the area. Because of his reputation as an authoritarian and strict slave master, he was perceived as the person best suited to help quash the uprisings. Legend has it that Lynch stood on the banks of the James River in Virginia and delivered a speech to fellow slave owners in which he gave advice on how they can solve their slave problems. According to him, the secret to controlling black slaves was to set them against one another, taking advantage of their differences to promote conflict among them. This method, he said, would ensure that the slaves would be controlled for at least 300 more years. Part of Lynch's speech read, "I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South." Lynch went on to say that he exploited the age and color of slaves, using these attributes to sow discord among them. To outline this method, he said, "Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us."
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, which leads me into talking about Willie Lynch, and I don't want to give this horrible human being a lot of energy, but I look at him as the father of a masculinity. You know, we're not going to get into CRT. I would love to one day, and I think this shows how the masculinity came, and that's why sometimes when a man is emasculated, sometimes he never gets his masculinity back, and we are not respected in the community. And we can't sit down and tell our young men of color, hey, we need to stop the gun violence, stop the body shaming, or whatever. So Hollywood, and I'm not going to expound on this too much, kind of took it and said, hey, with the gatekeepers, if you want to get in here, we got to emasculate you, pretty much. So that's why I wanted to go into the whole emasculated and the masculinity, because emasculated and emasculated, I'm sorry. And I want to say one thing about that whole emasculation. Me being from Arkansas, I remember years ago I read something, and I can't show pictures due to the graphic violence and the graphic nature, but I will give a book and I will give this person name out so you guys could definitely go see for yourself. But it was first of all, there was thousands of black men that were hung or hanged and emasculated. But I'm going to talk about one in particular, and his name is Willie McNeely. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing. I think it's McNeely, out of East Texas, around the Pittsburgh, Dallas area. And he was in jail, I want to say in the late 40s, late 50s, and he was hanged, obviously, and he was emasculated, had a ball with him, had their time with him. I mean, literally, no pun intended, but that's kind of how it was. And from that day on, they kind of set the precedence. And I'm not going to tell all the whole story because I know a lot of people, I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but basically he was driving, but he appeared to be, he thought it was a woman of color, and it was a white lady. And I don't really know if he gave her a ride, but the white lady or somebody said he spoke to her or said something, and he already knew what time it was. Anyway, they took him to the local jail and they hanged him and they emasculated him. But Willie McNeely, and then it's a book out there that I definitely want. I'm not gonna show the picture or anything, but it's called Without Sanctuary. It's one of the best books, and it's more of a picturesque book, and it shows you all the black men and women that were hanged from slavery into a modern day, and you'll be surprised at what state you're from that the people were being hanged from. So we'll go from there, and I'll leave that alone. But that's White Sanctuary. I mean, I'm sorry, Without Sanctuary, and I think I got one more, and it's going to be a perfect one in there, and how the slaves were abused by the white men and white women, particularly more white women, how they were really raping a lot of the black men and keeping them by their bedside. I'm going to show a quick video on that, and then we can expound on that a little bit to show you that it was just more about this than just slavery. They were treated as just god awful. So I'm gonna just show that video. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can find it.
As light-skinned enslaved women who were the product of mixed-race couplings were particularly vulnerable to sexual predation, so were light-skinned male slaves finding themselves a great deal.
Did you know that you could get $50,000 to over $150,000 of investment capital at 0%?
The particular target of such sexual exploitation. Apparently, they may have attracted their enslavers more, who in most cases were swooned by the mere sight of them, and would exert racial supremacist authority over exercising them as their sex property. As Thomas Buckley found in his analysis of divorce in antebellum Virginia, roughly 9% of Virginia's divorce petitions from 1786 to 1851 were for interracial adultery, with 23 of those petitions coming from white men who complained about their wives' relationships with black men. Peter Nielsen, traveling in Virginia in the 1820s, recorded that he had learned about a planter's daughter having fallen in love with one of her father's slaves. She had actually seduced him. In her 1861 autobiography, Harriet Jacobs told the chilling story of a male slave named Luke, who was kept chained at his bedridden master's bedside so that he would be constantly available to tend to his physical needs, which included sexual favors. In veiled language so as not to offend the sensibilities of 19th century polite society, Jacobs reported that most days, Luke was only allowed to wear a shirt so that he could be easily flogged if he committed an infraction, such as resisting his master's sexual advances. In a 2011 Journal of the History of Sexuality article, the scholar Thomas Foster contended that enslaved black men regularly were sexually exploited by both white men and white women, which took a variety of forms, including outright physical penetrative assault, forced reproduction, sexual coercion and manipulation, and psychic abuse. In one example provided by Foster, a man named Lewis Bourne filed for divorce in 1824 due to his wife's longtime sexual liaison and continued pursuit of a male slave named Edmund from their community. Foster contended that such pursuits could enable white women to enact radical fantasies of domination over white men, while at the same time subjecting the black enslaved male to her control. Foster also contended that such pursuits were not uncommon, as demonstrated by testimonies from the American Freedmen's Inquiry Commission, established by the Secretary of War in 1863, which took depositions from abolitionists and slaves regarding the realities of slave life. Such depositions included stories of sexual liaisons between enslaved men and their mistresses. Indeed, there is considerable documentation of white women forcing black men into having sex.
Wow. Now, because we gotta, get ready and kind of wrap this up. And that video, I took two things, and I want your opinion and what you took away from it as well. I took one, that a white woman couldn't be the strength in her relationship, so she would go to the black man because the white man was always dominant. And I'm not going to offend anyone, and I'm trying not to offend anyone, but that's why I think a lot of racial relationships are like, know, the white man can't dominate. I mean, the white woman can't dominate a white man, no matter what. She's not going to take it, but she can get with that black man and she can take him because she thinks that she's definitely powerful and next in command when it's just a man and a man. I'm sorry, a man, a white man and a black man. They're men. I should say men and then women in that pecking order. Next, it reminds me a lot, and you kind of already hit it, what Hollywood was doing and what they were saying. Let me take your masculinity, and then you know I'm the master. That's kind of what I took from it. Besides, it was just horrible, because it was white men and white women raping black men and also black women. But in this case, you see the black man just used for sex, and to find out that a lot of the white men were just divorcing them for that, and they were keeping them by their bedside. What did you take from that video?
I mean, I feel like that now. You know what I'm saying? It's some beautiful women in every culture. Let me say this, but I just love black women, and they do that shit now. You know what I'm saying? I had a white friend tell me, if a white girl, I went to a high school, right, where it was only like 15 black kids, and this is one of the top schools that I went to, and this is high school, right, and it was like 15 black kids, probably a few Indians, a few Chinese, like a sprinkle, like 4 or 5 Chinese, 4 or 5 Indians, 15 blacks, everybody else white, Caucasian, right? So one of my friends, she told me that, they had these conversations, like if you a white girl getting noticed or getting some type of attention from a black man, that's not worth it. A black guy, that's not worth as much as you getting attention from a white dude. And so I was like, for real? She was like, yeah, that's what she was like. I don't think like that, but I don't know. But that was she told me, because she was like, yeah, that's what we talk about sometimes. And I was like, for real? So okay, cool. And so I've been into a lot of sectors in life, a lot of levels of financial places, or places of high economical value, or what's the best way for me to say that? People with money, right? If you don't have no money, they don't want you there. And even if they don't want you dating their daughters. That are Indians, they don't want you touching their daughters. Every culture, they don't want you with their daughters. You have to be rich to have their daughters. Or if you with a white girl of stature, of prominence, good luck. Good luck. You better be worth 100 million, $1 billion, because that's just what it is. And me personally, I just don't want to go through that. I don't want to put myself through that. I don't want to put my children through that. So I just feel like, once again, be around people who value you, period. If you don't value me, that's fine, that's cool. I can just avoid you. But I'm gonna put my time, my energy, my love, my spirit, my soul, my thoughts, my ideas amongst people who appreciate them. And I just hope all the young guys do it. I mean, it's a lot of brothers in sports. I don't know what they thinking, but to some black guys, not all, having a white woman is the prize. No, with me having a black woman, that's my prize. That's what I love. I'm not racist. I just love what I love. Just like every culture love what they love. I love what I love.
Okay, good deal. And that was a good way to end it. And like I said, for the viewers, we just here. Hopefully, you guys learned something. Once again, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, hit it now. I'm gonna keep another 20 minutes if you don't. No, I'm just playing. But make sure you leave your comments and your thoughts. Like I said, this is just for educational purposes. And some of the names we got our research from is what we got. If we're wrong, please leave us a comment. And it's not, to make anyone feel bad or to push an agenda. we just want to talk about something that's not being talked about in our community, the emasculation of black men, because this is really important because we're being emasculated every second, every minute, every day. I wish I could find the stats about, how many black men are being emasculated every very second. But like I said, please leave a comment. Go out there, check out Without Sanctuary. It's worth the $50. Matter of fact, Frank and I are going to be doing a book club soon. So, the first, I think we got some prizes, some gift cards, for the, people that's going to get in there with it. Then when at the end of, every 30 days, we're going to award someone with that. But we're going to start this book club up here shortly, probably after the new year. But that's a book definitely that should be on your list, and you can share it. And check out Mr. McNeely's story. It's sad and sorry I didn't put any pictures. I just didn't want this video to get in the wrong hands and someone get offended and take it to school because I wasn't going to show the lynchings. We all know what it is. And if you get a chance, get out there to Montgomery, Alabama. There's a museum, and you'll be surprised, especially you live in the Southeast, because they got it tracked. They could tell you how many black men were hanged, and they kept record of it. You best believe that. And one last thing, I want to leave you food for thought. You guys shouldn't use the word picnic anymore. If you really knew where that word came from, you would really understand, because that's when they were just barbecue black men, and they would bring the whole family out, and it came from a derivative of pick a what. I'm not going to say that N word, but let's stop the emasculation, even with our own people. Even a black male can emasculate another black male by calling them, the B word, the BITC blank ASS. That's an emasculation. We got to do better as men. Even using the N word could be emasculation. So that's something that I'm guilty of sometimes, but we got to be better and love each other. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Frank and Lowe Show. Frank, I'm glad you shared some of them stories. Man, this was, this is probably our longest video. So hopefully we kept some people attention. This is near and dear to our heart. Frank, I'm gonna let you sign off. If you got anything else, you can lead the people.
Nah, man. Thank y'all for coming out, man. Peace and blessings to us all, man. Y'all, like Lo said, man, y'all tune into our channels. Like I said, we ain't trying to offend nobody, or say we against this group of people or that group of people. No, that's not what we doing. I'm just pro me.
Right.
Like everybody should be pro them.
That's right.
God
We
bless
showed you guys
y'all.
the receipts. God bless. Take care. Godspeed. We out.
Peace.